Hello everyone and welcome back to Hybrid Budgets. This is my sort of yearly close down and budget, my sort of binder update coming into 2025. So in 2024 I made this binder myself. I was committed. This is when I started my budgeting journey. It was about, initially I started at January time, like loosely just on Excel and stuff, and then I like fully committed and got my binder like printed and stuff, and then I think it must have been about like midway through the year, can't really remember now, I started to do my YouTube videos, and it was basically just to keep myself accountable for stuff, and I've obviously been changing it and developing it as you go along, I suppose, like everyone does when you start budgeting. You work out what works well, what doesn't, and you know, bits and bobs. So yeah, so this is basically just a bit of a run through of where I've got up to. I did have goals at the front, but we'll just go through all of it really. And then going on to my new binder for 2025. So I don't know how long this video will be. I'm hoping it's going to be reasonably short and sweet, because actually, I say not much has changed, but I've reduced my second binder quite a lot, and I think I'm going to do more savings challenges and stuff. But anyway, I'll get into it when I get into it. So, starting off, so this was like my financial game plan. So I think when I originally went through this binder, I said I follow the Financial Feminist. So if you don't listen to her, I really highly recommend it. She's really good. She's from, I'm going to say America. I'm just checking because I don't think she's Canadian. No, America. I think she lives in Seattle. And she has an amazing podcast, and I think she's on YouTube, like her first 100k. And she's got a book and everything, and she is amazing. She's called Tori Dunlap. But yeah, so this is essentially her financial game plan, which I have been following. So let me zoom in ever so slightly. So the whole aim of the game plan is to sort of get your finances in order. So I loosely followed this, I would say, because there were bits I definitely wanted to get done first. So emergency fund, she recommends 3 months monthly fixed costs in a high interest savings account that she can release the next day. So I did set up an emergency fund. I did have it in a high yield, or as high yield as it could be. So I think my one was at 7% with First Direct. That has literally since gone to fruition, so I've now been putting it into a nationwide account, but again, it's next day release, so that's fine. I haven't saved up 3 months fixed. I've saved up about £1,000, and then I sort of let it tick away to £50 a month, because then I basically worked on the next sort of various stage. So I did £1,000, and then yeah, like my aim is obviously to get the 3 months fixed. Oh my gosh, my head can't think. My 3 months fixed expenses. Then the employee match pension, which I did do. So this is basically saying if you've got a salary sacrifice scheme, just make sure you're on the right programme and make sure they're matching you or bettering it. Or in the UK, I don't know how it works in America, but we obviously have the various different tax brackets. So if you're on a low income or higher income, depending if you earn over £50,000, I think it is, you get charged the 40% tax rate. So basically any of my salary that won't push me into that rate, I just put towards my pension. So I've been doing that. So I've been putting quite a bit towards my pension, which has been really good. So that's been going up. High interest debt. So yeah, again, I use this as a priority. So I went through, and when I actually tossed it up, it was actually quite, I don't want to say sickening, but I did feel like really queasy after I went through it, because it was only like £2,000 here, £5,000 here on each credit card. But yeah, I put them all together. I was like, okay, I'm literally rolling around at about 20 grand's worth of debt, and I had no idea. So I started to pay off that first. Luckily, all my major debts, to be honest, were on balance transfer cards. So when it says high interest debt plus 7%, that's your stuff like your general credit cards that you have to pay off monthly in full. Or you should try and pay off monthly in full, but I didn't actually have any of those. I had balance transfer cards, so they were on 0%. However, they were all coming to expire, so suddenly they'd jump up to sort of a 20% APR. So I started to look into all that. And then investments, low interest debt. So again, I've been tickling away doing my investments. I did like £50 a month just on investments. Low interest debt, again, I'd argue that my balance transfer debt was low interest. It was 0%. But yeah, again, just tickling away at it. And things like your mortgage and everything like that. And then saving for the big stuff. So I've generally been doing this. So things like, well, obviously our big stuff now is the wedding. But it'll be holidays, home renovations, future savings, etc. So I was generally following that plan, not like to the letter, but just that general sense of the order you should do stuff. My goals, they were all a bit generic, so this year I've gone quite specific. So become debt free is a general goal I want to achieve at some point, but it wasn't specific to 2024, and whereas my 2025 ones, I've made them very specific. Prioritise spending, be more mindful and conscious. I've definitely done that, because the way and nature of doing the cash stuff method, or I do like the bank pot method, where I like put the money in the various bank pot and have a virtual card linked to it, so if that money's basically not available in that pot, like, you just don't spend it. So therefore I have been a lot more mindful and conscious. Even I think like reviewing my Amazon orders, they've gone down like ridiculous amounts. And start investing for the future. So I've got a Vanguard account for like way in the future. There's just little things like you know, obviously, like I say, wedding, but it's just things like we're looking out for just that year ahead, you know, when you're like, okay, holiday, where are we actually going? Whereas before, we've just chuck it on a credit card and deal with it later. So we've definitely been a lot more mindful on that. Emotional spending, yes and no. Yes, just generally because I'm being more mindful. No, in a sense of I'm still really bad at when I am out and about, I'll like end up spending a bit more, you know, mainly when I'm having a drink and stuff. I'll then spend a bit more than I probably should, and I'll just like transfer it from a different pot, which is not great. So I still definitely need to work on that a bit more. So this is my year review sheet. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'm doing a similar page setup in my new one. Again, because I started this one quite late, I think it was again May time, I had to like backtrack with these. So what I actually want to do is do this like fresh and new. But what it is good at is sort of identifying where things have increased throughout the month, and what I was putting in the pots. But again, I didn't really have my pots set up here, so I couldn't really plan it. So I'm quite excited to do this for next year. But yeah, I'm going to glimpse over this one in detail. Card tracker. So this was quite a good little one. I think I've got one similar. I've called it my pot tracker. So again, when I was looking through all my various debts and stuff, I was noticed I had about 50 gazillion credit cards, and they weren't like ones I necessarily like used tap all the time. It was just more that every time you do a balance transfer, you get a card. And I think I like reviewed them, and I was like, whoa, like I have too many cards here. So again, I like tracked them all. I got all the details out. I got all their passwords sorted. Just like I spent like quite a good time just cleansing the soul, so to speak, just getting it so they were all available. Like now I've got it all on my phone. It's just like my biometric login, and I can just keep up to date with it. I think I'm on Snoop now. I was on Moneybox before, but I've joined Snoop. I'm not paying any subscription or anything to it. It's literally just the free version. But again, it's just all your cards in one place. But I just didn't even know what cards I had. I didn't know if they were variable. I didn't know their APR. So I just wanted like this table to be like, okay, these are the cards, these are the APR. What do they therefore they're variable or balance transfer, etc. So yeah, these are actually all my variable ones, which is scary when you look at these are all the ones that like they didn't have a purpose. They were just like, yeah, you can pay on them or not. You know, PayPal I'm including as a card, for instance. But yeah, I had 2 Halifax. One was for travel. The other one was because I was like, oh God, the interest rate is a lot more on that one. I'm putting everything on that one when I should be having a separate one. Virgin Atlantic's a points card. Amex Gold was a points card, but I've got rid of that one now. Monzo Flex was again a card where you can like split the purchase payments. First Direct, it was a current account, but again, you can have money on that potentially, so I had a card. So yeah, that was just generally what those were. Savings, yeah, so I had my emergency fund. I had 2 emergency funds, and then I had a piggy bank roundups from both my Nationwide and Monzo. I've actually got 2 in my Monzo now because we've got one for our joint account and one for my my pots. And then yeah, Monzo Christmas and Monzo Holiday. So I'm not going to bother going into them because I've got different savings now for this year. Now this was my debt where I was, and in fact let me get out my new binder now and do a bit of a debt where I am. So let me put that one out of the way. So originally we had my MBNA 1 and my MBN 2. One was a balance transfer and one was a money transfer, because I was doing it at the front of my drive. So I had a balance transfer, an old one, and then I had a money transfer because I had to pay in cash from my current account. Then I had my Tesco 1, my Tesco 2, my Virgin Pink, I had £2,000 from my mum and dad. I had my mortgage as well. So taking out the mortgage, I was coming up to £24,000 that I owed in a various shape or form for basically like these items here. So yeah, I think maybe I got it wrong. It was 20,000, but yeah, it was a lot, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So I basically priority. So I undertake in priority date and the percentage. So I basically mapped out, so this is the current interest rate. So you can see like a lot of these are on balance transfer. So in my head I was like, oh okay, I've managed my money, but they were all coming to fruition. The minimum payments all came to like actually quite a significant amount. The future interest was coming up, and that was going to be over like 30% and stuff. And then the amount I had to pay per month before the goal end date was actually really totting up, because I was paying like the minimum payments. I wasn't actually getting the debt down as much as I should. So I sort of had to shook myself a little bit more and was like, right, okay, get sorted with this. So yeah, I chose to start with the MBNA first. So I got rid of the one that I was getting charged. Well, it worked out that this one was paying down first, even though I had less on this one, just because they were technically two separate transfers, but they were on the same account. So it would pay your money towards the one you had interest on first, even then that was 0%, but it was coming up sooner. So ideally I'd be like, well, let's pay off that 1,875 first, then pay off the 5.9%, because actually the goal end date for that one was the 22nd of the 10th 2025, and then I was going to work incrementally down. Anyway, got all my MBNA paid off, got a significant amount paid off on my Tesco one, and then no, I got all my Tesco one paid off. No, I didn't. Tell a lie. All my MBNA paid off. Tesco 2, a significant chunk paid off. My Tesco 1, I ended up doing a balance transfer, and now that is what I call my Virgin Blue card, because it's on a Virgin card that's blue. And then I've got my Virgin Pink. So just as a comparison, so this is where I'm up to now for this year. So I've got my Tesco 2, which I have £1,530 currently on it. My Virgin Pink, which is 5,650, my Virgin Blue, which is 4,350, and my mum and dad I have paid down as well. So this is the priority I will be paying these off. So Tesco 2 is my first priority, then it's going to be Virgin Blue, because I'm going to have to do a balance transfer anyway for my Virgin Pink. So my logic was, well, without doing any balance transfer, I can pay that £197 off a month realistically, like when it actually gets to that priority. I think realistically it's going to be more like £250 a month, but that's fine, I can do that. But Virgin Pink I'll have to do a balance transfer anyway. And then obviously finally will be mum and dad, but currently we're still trying to prioritise the wedding, so we're not getting into more debt. So these ones are just basically all ticking away. So my Tesco 2 minimum payments on all others until October 25. So that's my Tesco 2 is my priority, then minimum payments on all other, and then October 25 after the wedding we will, you know, go hell for leather and get all the other debt paid off. So we'll have lunch, so it's Tesco 2, Virgin Pink, and then Virgin Blue, so interest order, and then the Virgin Pink will need a balance transfer, and my goal is to pay Tesco 2 in 2025, and I have rounded up my minimum payments. So Tesco 2 is currently at £25, that's rounded up to 30, Virgin Pink is at £56.50, that rounded up to £70, and Virgin Blue is at £43.50, and I've rounded that up to 60. So I'm paying just over minimum, but it's quite nice that it's a fixed amount. Like it won't, these will go down, like my minimum payments will go down because I'm obviously paying off more, but I'm going to keep these numbers fixed. So although I'm saying I'm paying minimum, I am paying just over. And then mum and dad are on the back burner until after the wedding. So from a visual sort of perspective, this is where I am with my debt. So MBNA 1 and 2 is paid off fully. Tesco 2 is nearly there. I would say I'm over halfway there with Tesco 2 now. And then these ones are ticking away ever so slightly. But yeah, they will rapidly start going down as soon as, you know, one basically is prioritised. Variable and fixed expenses, I will go through them for the new year. Again, I didn't really know how to not work it out, but I didn't really know how I wanted like the setup. And originally I was like, oh, I'm going to be doing this weekly, whereas I get paid monthly, so I didn't need the 4-week, 5-week month thing. So yeah, but pretty much this is roughly what I pay every month. Birthday and event tracker, I still have one of these, and I still will be having one of these in my new tracker because it's just quite useful. For instance, I know May, June, August and December are really like hot months that I do need to make sure I've got my birthday and gifts money saved up, because I do have a lot of birthdays or events and stuff that I end up going to in those months. And then, yeah, I go on to my month review. So not much has really changed onto my new binder. These are pretty much going to have exactly the same setup month by month. I've just changed how I do this. So, yeah, I'm just basically going to show you now. So, this is my new budget binder. I've already got coffee spilt all over it. Let me zoom out ever so slightly. So yeah, I've gone for more of a purpley theme this year. I've obviously used my Cricut as well, so I got quite excited and I was like, oh, let's get some gold on it. So yeah, like, honestly, I just have a binder because I quite like having a binder. It's all in one place. And my partner does everything on an app. So you could do it on an app if it's easy for you. I pretty much do it both on binder and app. I just quite like having the tactileness of, like, it sounds really daft, like I do it on Excel, my budget, and work out the numbers and stuff, but I just quite like the writing it out and like the whole, I don't know what you call it, like not process, but like the whole sort of, oh, people have it like routine of doing it every month. So exactly the same pretty much set up as last year. So again, exactly the same financial game plan. So I come back to this when I'm just like, right, what should I do? I think back to this financial game plan. I'm like, right, go back to this. Because although I'm chipping away at doing all 4 of these, I should really be going like hell for leather in that order. But yeah, so I always come back to my financial game plan, so I wanted to keep that in. My financial goals this year, I've been very specific, and they're doing, you know how people say you should have a SMART goal, so smart, measurable, achievable, I don't know what the R and T are, but yeah, SMART goals. So goal 1 is to pay for the wedding, which is in October 25, without getting into more debt. So we have both agreed, me and my partner, so I'm putting quite a bit more towards the wedding, just because my salary is a lot higher than my partner's, so it makes sense for me to put a lot more into the wedding. Also, there's things that I specifically want, like for the wedding, a bit more than my partner's just like, I don't mind, and I'm like, well, I do, like, I'd really like a photographer and, you know, or a nice one and stuff. So I'm putting more in, but he did agree that if we did need any more money, he is happy to, you know, put that in or get a card or something to put on. I'm not particularly happy about that. I genuinely think we can save enough in October. So it's my goal that we don't need to get out any cards and stuff. I think he's just enough of a panic, and he's just like, not a panic, but he's just like, but let's be pragmatic. If we do need to, it's on that one day, we've agreed that date, and you sort of, things have to be paid by then. So I said fine, but I'd like it that by the end of that year, for instance, it's paid off. So I can completely see what he's saying in terms of, like, I'm saying October 25, but actually a lot of the things will need to be paid up by like June, July, and we just might not have the cash flow at June and July. So I'm basically saying, but if we're saving the way we're saving by October, or ideally by the end of the year, like, I want those, if we're having to take out a card for anything, I want it like done by December. Like, I don't really want to be going into marriage life with more debt. Like, the whole point of this process is like we don't have that. So sorry, rant over, but yeah, so that's my main goal. So I'm really pushing to get more in future. Like I say, debt is taking a slight back burner, ever so slightly, in terms of I'm paying the monthly still. It's on it's at 0%, so we are paying it off, and, you know, like, we're not just maintaining the debt. Like, it is coming off, it is just coming off slower. But literally, when it comes to October, like, whatever we were paying to future is obviously going to go straight onto debt. So we can envisage we can get quite a bit down after October. Goal 2 is to pay off the Tesco 2 balance transfer card. So it's currently at £1,100. So we want to get that off by the end of this year. So we're still, you know, obviously tending to our debt. It's not going to be our top priority. Goal 3, get an emergency fund up to £2,000 by the end of the year. I think we're up to about 1,200 on our emergency fund. It was 1,400, but we've had to get a bed. I say we've had to get a bed, we have, because me and my partner, it's a really old bed, so when I say my partner broke it, it it was ready to break. So we went out and we got a bed frame, and then the guy's like, do you want a mattress? And we were like, no, the mattress is fine. And my partner's like, how long have you had that mattress? And I was like, okay, I've had that mattress for over 10 years. And he's like, you've already put like a mattress topper on it and stuff like that. And my sister always complains it's like a really uncomfy mattress. So I was like, okay, fine, we'll get a mattress. So again, it was one of those expenses where I'm like, it's not an emergency, but it needs to be bought, and we've got the money there. So I'm like, right, okay, let's put some. So I'm putting in 250, my partner's putting in 250, and my parents gifted us some money at Christmas, so that's going towards it, and then that'll be our bed paid. And again, we're not going into debt doing it. So what was my point? Oh, get an emergency fund up to £2,000 by the end of the year. And goal 4 was to have Christmas fully funded by December. So this year I think I saved about £750 on Christmas. It was a particularly cheaper Christmas though. We all decided we were going to do Secret Santa. You know, I wasn't buying for everyone, we were buying just for the kids. And we did various things that were a lot cheaper. And when it came to the actual Christmas meal, because we're at different people's and different places, we didn't cook the Christmas meal. We bought gifts obviously to go towards it, but you know, and like drink and stuff, but I mean nowhere near if we were doing it ourselves. So yeah, I just sort of want to get in the habit that every year we're saving £1,000 for Christmas. If we use it, it's there to use. If we don't, it's also fine. Because then we can use that money for a savings goal and like top up a debt or top up something else like holiday. But it'd just be nice that it's allocated for Christmas, and then it's nice for the new year to be like, cool, Christmas is fully funded and any extra can go towards the things we prioritise. So this is the year review again, so I'm going to do exactly the same for this year, but at least I'm setting it up now. So the things I'm going to sort of look at my category wise are, so I'm going to lift this up because the lighting is a bit bad. Mortgage, home insurance, life insurance, because these things, they're fixed but they're likely to change ever so slightly. Mobile, council tax, my various account fees, so I've got one with Nationwide, one with Monzo. Tesco 2, I'm going to log the minimum payment and any extra over debt I put towards it, so just so I can track where my debt is. Same with Virgin Blue and Virgin Pink. Virgin Atlantic is my variable credit card, so I just want to track that because it'd just be quite interesting to know how much per month I do use on it. I tend to only use it for expenses, but I keep on like slipping into bad habits and use it for other stuff, but I'm trying to say to myself, just use it for expenses or the bigger purchases that need that sort of financial protection by buying it on a credit card. Home improvement are joint food, eating out, hobbies and entertainment, health, hair and beauty, birthday and gifts, holiday, Christmas, future, emergency fund and annual expenses. So yeah, it would just be nice to have a view of those. Card and pot tracker, I was going to detail them all out, and then I thought, actually, you know what, I do this monthly anyway, so I'm not going to go into that. I'll do it pretty much in my monthly one. The ones I do have that are specific saving pots are my emergency fund in Nationwide is at 5.5%, but that does expire on the 5th of March 25, so I think I need to find another one at a reasonably good interest rate. Our future joint savings is at 4%, and our goal amount for that one is £10,000 by the 25th of October. And our holidays, our Monzo saving, which is at 4.1%, and again our goal amount for that is £2,000, and again by October. So they're our main savings goals for this year. And then our debt tracker, oh god, just banged you guys. Pretty much been through them, so yeah, Tesco 2, Virgin Pink, Virgin Blue and Mum and Dad are the main debts I have. I say the only debts, and then obviously Mortgage 1 and Mortgage 2. So this is sort of like how I want to do my debt pay down. And I think that is pretty much it. So this is my fixed and annual expenses and also my variable expenses. So this one I put a lot more thought into it than my previous year's binder. Basically I just wanted to set out how much I need to put in per month. So these are like majority of my fixed expenses, and then I wanted to map out each individual annual. So I have a pot called General Annual, which covers things, quite a few different annual expenses, because they're all not, I don't know how to say it, like some of them are like £20 a year, some of them are £30 a year, but they're not I didn't want like a separate pot for each of them, so I've combined all those smaller ones together. So I just wanted to make a note of whether it's an annual one, how much I need to pay per month, the date they come to fruition, and so the date I need to get, you know, the money out by, and how much they are per year. And similar with my general fixed expenses, so what date they come out, what's the frequency of them coming out. And yeah, so just in one place I can sort of look and be like, okay, year review, this is sort of what I should expect to be paying out every month. And then my variable and sinking funds are sort of like my ideal budget per month. So food and joint account, we try and put in £300 each. Health, hair and beauty, I like to put in at £80. I ummed with splitting health and hair and beauty and clothes, because hair, beauty and clothes feels to me like it's a bit more of a, not a necessity, it's like a bit of a like luxury, whereas health is things like my glasses and things like eye tests, dental, stuff like that. We do have dental insurance that gets paid out through my work, and I can claim, I think, £60 in glasses through my work, but inevitably it might be a bit more. And also you then need to fund it to then have it paid back the next month, and that's me being like very good on my expenses, so it usually goes on a credit card. So what I'd like to do is just have like that little buffer ahead. Hobbies and entertainment, so again I like to put in about £60 a month, and eating out £200. The logic is that £200 should be enough, and then I should have money spare. As it happened towards like the end of the year, it was just getting ridiculous, not just with Christmas, but you know, I think you just get like, I don't know, with the weather and everything, you just don't, I don't know, I just get so lethargic and just don't feel like doing anything. So we absolutely, like, we end up with takeaways a lot more, and, you know, just, they're just so expensive. So I've given ourselves £200 just so we don't, like, slip into any other pot. But ideally, I want to be spending, like, £100 and then have £100 left every month to do something else or do a separate challenge on or something like that. Birthday and gifts, £50 a month. So these are general. Let me get out my tracker, actually. I made this little tracker, but because it's variable, I don't know how I'm going to do it particularly, but I've sort of tried to work out what I'd spend on each person. So this is like a general birthday. So this is if like I'm going out with a friend and it's their birthday, I'll usually buy them some flowers, a card, etc. So this is like my mum, so obviously I spend a bit more on her, my partner, my sister-in-law, my various nieces, nephews, so they're the twins, my dad. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mini tracker, which I might start doing. The issue is, and like a wedding, like we're just at this age where we always have our wedding a year. I know we've got our one coming up, but we usually have something related to a wedding, like a hen do or a party or something like that. So I thought, again, if we save up for generally for all those types of things. The issue is, obviously, with it being variable, it will go up and down. So I don't like to cash stuff, because I don't cash stuff. Variable pots because of that nature, so I'm going to work out how I can use this tracker. Home improvement, so I'm saying variable and I'm saying sinking funds, because there's stuff that I have, basically I have anything variable I have a virtual card linked to, so it's a pot that I stuff and then I've got a virtual card linked to that pot, so a bit like how you'd have a cash envelope. So I've got one, and that's for like any time I go to B&Q, but then we want sinking funds for home improvement for like the bigger stuff. So things like we want to do up the garden, for instance, that's going to be one big sort of saving situation. We're looking at maybe we're either going to move house at some point, or we're going to try and do an extension around the back, because we've currently got a conservatory. We've only got like one reception room and our kitchen, which is quite a small galley kitchen. So we're like, okay, if we do an extension around the back, we can then have like a dining room, like a proper one, and that means like the longevity of living in this house is a lot more reasonable, or we look at moving house. So either way, we're going to have to save up for that. Again, emergency fund, I've got a separate sinking fund in it for Monzo or any extra overpayments, because at some point that nationwide one is going to, so in March time, I'm going to need a separate emergency fund one. Holiday, Christmas, mum and dad, odds and evens, and future. So holiday, I'm trying to aim to get £100 a month saved up in holiday. Christmas, £90 a month, so that will get me the £1,000 by December. Mum and dad, like I say, I'm putting them on the back burner, but if I do have any extra money, it would be useful to go to them. Odds and evens is a new game challenge I'm doing, so again, I'm trying to put £40 a month towards that one. And future, we're trying to aim to save £350 a month, so we get up to that sort of 10 grand mark. I mean, we're not gonna, because I need to basically save £1,000 every month to get to 10 grand, but you know what I mean in terms of trying to get as much there as possible for future. And then, yeah, again, exactly the same as last year. I've got a birthday and event tracker. So this is just very much me knowing when everyone's birthdays and things are. So again, like I said, May, June, August, December, and October now is becoming quite a heavy one. And that is it. And then it's just my standard monthly one. So I'm going to stop this now. And yeah, I might go into... No, I'm going to do my savings challenges separately in my cash stuffing video, because I think this one's already gone along enough. But yeah, that was basically my goals and everything for 2025, and a bit of a close down on 2024. But hopefully by the end of 25 I'll be getting into this budgeting swing a bit more, and it'd be very slick. Whereas when I was doing 2024 I didn't really know what would work and what wouldn't. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. I hope you've you might take some inspiration from it. I just quite like looking at everyone else's. I've seen quite a few up there recently, so I just quite like it to know like what other people's goals are and stuff. I'm just a bit nosy. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you all have a great month, and see you soon. Bye.